Good morning, everyone. Once again, and welcome to our seminar session for the Unit PG 420, our online seminar sessions for the Unit PG 420, International and Regional Security. So we've just completed Seminar 5, and in Seminar 5, we looked at the reading of the book edited by Lindsay Chung and Reveron on China and cybersecurity. And as mentioned in the previous seminar, I said it is important for us to look at China and what China is doing in competition with the US. So this will help us understand internationally how the game is being played, the geopolitical competition. And it's not only in economics and infrastructure, but it's also cutting into cyberspace, cybersecurity as well. So we had a look at this book, and 7 questions were derived from this book, and all of you provided answers to the 7 questions. That was in seminar 5. So we're moving on to seminar 6. In seminar 6, it's a special one. It's a special one because we'll be looking at the reading from Amanda Watson. Amanda Watson. All the 7 questions are derived from the chapter written by Watson. Written by Watson in the development bulletin titled Perspectives on Pacific Security, Future, Currents. All right, so Amanda Watson, or Dr. Amanda Watson, sorry, if you did attend the tribute night on Wednesday, the late Dr. Ivan's tribute night, you'll see that Mr. Medbob on the slide and also mentioned by Mr. Medbob that Amanda was talk visit by Dr. Ibe. So that's why I said it's very special because Dr. Ives passed on, and during the tribute night, they talked about how Dr. Watson led Tokpisin from Dr. Ibe, and how Dr. Ibe was passionate about teaching Tokpisin. So yeah, it's a special presentation today. So we listen to our presenters, and also we keep the late Dr. Ibe in our thoughts and keep his family as well in our prayers. So with that, I'll move on to our presenters for today. We have a good lineup. Good lineup of presenters. We start off with Miss Kaylin Bisa, representing Group 4. Then we'll move on to Mr. Gideon Sakau, representing Group 5. Miss Kaylin Kiwar, representing Group 2. Then we will listen to Miss Vivian Yalim, representing Group number 6. Mr. Jonathan Kunai will be representing Group 7. And Miss Narisa Aso, Group number 1. And we'll conclude with the man himself, Mr. Valentine Basanu, representing Group 3. So with that, without further delay, we'll hand over the virtual microphone to Ms. Bisa, representing Group number 4. So Kaylin, please go ahead.
All right. Can someone confirm if I'm heard?
Yeah, you okay?
All right. Good morning, Mr. Yagara and everyone. I will be presenting on behalf of Group 4. So the question allocated to us for Seminar 6 reads, Watson emphasizes the importance of involving community groups in shaping security policies. How can a network security approach integrating police, private security, and local leaders enhance security in the Pacific? In order to answer the question, let us first understand the concept of a network approach. A network approach is a collaborative framework that effectively addresses complex security challenges by involving a variety of stakeholders, including local community leaders, private security firms, and police forces. In order to improve security governance and resilience, this strategy places a strong emphasis on efficient use of resources, sharing, as well as cultural relevant tactics. So basically, network security in this study refers to the strategies, policies, and practices that nations implement to protect the information systems and data from cyber threats. Now, Watson 2020 emphasizes how crucial it is to include community organizations in the development of security policies within this framework in order to ensure that solutions are sustainable and relevant to the context. So with that understanding, we read through and came up with the following subheading themes to answer the questions given us. Now, security can be enhanced in the Pacific through community cooperation, pardon me. Firstly, security can be enhanced in the Pacific through community cooperation. So community involvement is a foundation of the network security approach. Watson 2020 highlights that local leaders and community groups provide invaluable cultural insights and knowledge of the socio-political landscape, ensuring that security policies are relevant and widely accepted. This perspective is reflected by Megan O'Neill and others, 2023, who proposed the conditions, actions, and purpose model for community policing, emphasizing the adaptability of security to local contexts. For example, in PNG, local tribal leaders and village chiefs play a key role in maintaining order and resolving conflicts. Therefore, by involving communities in policy making, trust and cooperation are fostered, bridging the gap between formal law enforcement and population they serve. Now, on to our second point, resource optimization. The Pacific region often faces resource limitations, particularly within its police forces. A network security approach addresses these limitations by merging resources and expertise. Watson 2020 refers that private security organizations can supplement police efforts by providing additional manpower, defense technology, and logistics support. Dinan and Walton 2018 further argue that private security firms in Papua New Guinea play a crucial role in maintaining order, especially in air zones. This collaboration ensures that limited resources are used more effectively and efficiently. Example, in Fiji, private security firms often work alongside the police in both urban and rural areas. This collaboration helps ensure that private businesses, hotels, and tourist resorts are secured, while police forces focus on broader public safety initiatives. Community leaders can help bridge any gaps by facilitating communication between the public and security providers. UNDP 2020. Thirdly, cultural sensitivity is integral to the success of security measures in the Pacific. Local leaders ensure that policies and interventions are culturally appropriate, reducing resistance and fostering trust. Watson 2020 argues that culturally sensitive strategies are likely to involve support and cooperation of local populations. Megan O'Neill and others 2023 also emphasized the importance of building trust between facilitated peace building effort, highlighting the importance in maintaining unity. And to our last point, sustainability and responsibility. Network security approach promotes by distributing the responsibility for security across multiple stakeholders. Watson 2020 highlights shared Watson highlights that shared responsibility reduces over resiliency single making the security framework more resilient. Dinan and Walton 2021 discusses the potential of PNG's private security sector to complement public security efforts, demonstrating the importance of long-term collaboration. Community watch programs supported by police and private security have proven effective in maintaining order in rural areas. To conclude, network security approach aligns principles of security and regional cooperation, highlighted initiatives like the Board Declaration on Regional Security. It focuses on enhancing cooperation, information, and intelligence sharing between law enforcement at both national and regional levels, and the ratification and implementation of relevant international conventions on transnational crimes such as Palermo Convention, Watson, and others 2021. Thank you, and this ends our presentation.
Thank you, Group 4 and Ms. Misa, for your answer. Once again, the ground rules, if you have questions or comments, you can ask at our discussion forum later. So please make sure you take notes and then share your questions and comments. We'll move on to our next presenter, Mr. Sakao. Representing group number 5, he'll be talking about urbanization and cyber threats. Please, Gideon, go ahead.
Thank you, and once again, good morning, everyone. For this seminar presentation on the topic of cybersecurity and digital changes in PNG, I will be presenting on behalf of Group 5. And so our discussion question for this presentation is, Watson identifies trends like urbanization and cyber threats as critical for Pacific security. How should national and regional security strategies adapt to address these evolving issues? So before we move on with the presentation, let us first discuss what urbanization and cyber threats are. According to Cambridge Dictionary 2025, urbanization is the process by which more and more people leave the rural areas to live in the cities. Urbanization process often involves an increase in population density and changes in land use, such as the development of housing, transportation systems, and industries. Urbanization is driven by factors like migration to cities for job opportunities, better access to healthcare, education, and other essential services. And cyber threat is a malicious act that seeks to damage data or disrupt the digital life in general. Cyber threats include computer viruses, data breaches, denial of service attacks, and other attack vectors, according to Tangle 2025. And let us now look at how urbanization and cyber threats critical for the Pacific security. For urbanization, the low-income Pacific Island countries is driven by rural to urban migration, as people seek access to technological services, e-commerce opportunities, banking, and telecommunications. According to Gillis 2020, as cited by Watson 2021, the rapidly evolving digital connectivity across the Pacific brings many opportunities. for increased access to market information, better educational resources, and political voice. But there are also well-known downsides of increased digital access, no less relevant in the Pacific. And about the cyber threats, as Pacific nations embrace the digital transformation, they become more exposed to cyber threats. These threats range from ransomware and phishing attacks to misinformation campaigns targeting democratic process. For instance, the 2024 cyber attack on the Pacific Island Forum Secretariat exposed significant weaknesses within the region's cybersecurity infrastructure. This incident, undetected for months, allowed unauthorized access to confidential communications, potentially affecting the diplomatic ties and regional security discussions. This highlighted the urgent need for comprehensive cybersecurity measures and regional cooperation to safeguard sensitive data and mitigate future threats in the Pacific region. Now, coming back to answer our assigned question, how should national and regional security strategies adapt to address these evolving issues? We have divided the answers into two parts. First part is how national and regional security strategies should adapt to address urbanization, followed by ways to address cyber threats. Firstly, national and regional security strategies should adapt to address urbanization by the following ways. First, strengthening urban security and governance. Urbanization can lead to increased crime, social unrest, and infrastructure strain. Governments should invest in urban resilience planning, improve community policing, and integrate smart city technologies to enhance security. Watson 2023. Additionally, promoting social cohesion and equitable economic development can prevent instability in growing urban centers. Next one is increase in basic infrastructural needs that capture vulnerable impacts. Local government and national government through different ministries to invest in urban infrastructure for ease and accessibility, such as securing transportation systems, water and drainage system, electricity and energy services, thus enhancing citizen enrichment and achieving urbanization needs. And the last one is having the police and defense collaborate with the ICT department to enforce strict security environment. This initiative will allow for technological improvements to CCTVs and installments of digital interfaces which allow bioscanning and monitoring of people at access points in the country. This will allow the enforcement units to exercise the requirements of the Emergency Act if it gets implemented by the PNG government, thus decreasing the influx of rural to urban migration. And moving on to the second part of the answer, which is how national and regional security strategies should adapt to address cyber threats. Here we have discussed three ways. The first one is building cyber defense capabilities. National security strategies must invest heavily in developing robust cybersecurity infrastructure. This includes the creation of national cyber defense agencies that can counter attacks, detect threats, and quickly respond to breaches. Next one is regional cybersecurity cooperation. The Pacific nations should establish and enhance regional cybersecurity frameworks. With the rise of digital threats, national cybersecurity strategies must include strong legislative frameworks, cybersecurity education, and coordinated response mechanisms, according to Watson 2023. Regional cooperation through organizations like the Pacific Islands Forum can facilitate regional intelligence sharing and cyber capacity building efforts. This should involve collaborative mechanisms for sharing threat intelligence, responding to incidents, and providing mutual assistance during cyber crisis. And then the last one is establishing regional strategies. in collaborative drills to organize joint cybersecurity stimulations to strengthen regional readiness and response, implementing unified laws in standardizing cybercrime and data protection laws across Pacific countries, promoting a cohesive approach to safeguarding cybersecurity. To conclude, national and regional security strategies in the Pacific region must evolve to address the growing challenges of urbanization and cyber threats, as highlighted by Daniel Watson. Urban security can be boosted through investments in resilient infrastructure, community policing, and technological solutions. Similarly, tackling cyber threats requires robust cybersecurity frameworks, workforce developments, and regional cooperation with nations collaborating on intelligence sharing, unified laws, and joint cybersecurity exercises. By adopting comprehensive and adaptive approaches, security strategies can effectively respond to the complex interplay of technological, social, and geopolitical dynamics in the Pacific region. Thank you, and that is all from us.
Thank you, Mr. Sago, and group number 5. We'll move on to our next presenter. Representing group number 2, we have Ms. Kiwar. Ms. Kiwar, please go ahead. The digital microphone is yours.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I will be representing Group 2 under the Seminar 6 team, Cybersecurity and Digital Changes in Papua New Guinea. So the question assigned to my group reads, according to Watson, cybersecurity is an emerging priority under the BOE Declaration. What steps can Pacific Island nations take to strengthen their cybersecurity frameworks, and how does this align with broader regional goals? Okay, so in order to answer the question assigned to our group, we have divided it into 2 additional questions. Question number 1, what steps can Pacific Island nations take to strengthen their cybersecurity framework? And question number 2, how does this align with broader regional security goals? I will now answer the questions according to the findings. So, firstly, there are several strategic approaches Pacific Island nations can take to strengthen their security framework, such as public awareness campaigns. In order to educate the public about risks associated with cybersecurity and what measures they can take to protect themselves, there must be public awareness campaigns. NIST 2021. Secondly, regional collaboration. It is truly important for them to establish partnerships with the neighboring countries as well as the international organizations in order to facilitate ideas and knowledge as well as resource pooling. For instance, previously, the Pacific Islands Forum was held to address regional security challenges plus cybersecurity. Pacific Islands Forum 2021. Thirdly, capacity building and training. It is important to invest in human capital
instance. Okay, so according to a study carried out by International Telecommunication Union 2010, capacity building and training is crucial for strengthening security framework as it helps improves a nation's ability to respond to cyber threats. Moving on to the last part, legislative framework. It is important to develop and enforce comprehensive cybersecurity legislation for addressing cybercrime and for the protection of critical infrastructure. This was highlighted by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime 2019. Okay, so moving on to the next question. How does this align with broader regional security goals? It aligns with broader security goals in several ways. Firstly, through regional stability. Cyber threats do not respect nor care about borders, making regional stability essential. Hence, in order to address cybersecurity for effectively and efficiently Pacific Island nations, can and must contribute to regional stability and resilience against external threats. Next, economic security. It is essential to have a secure digital environment as it fosters economic growth and attracts investments from foreigners. It is truly important for a stable economic climate, which is essential for Pacific Islands development. Asian Development Bank 2020. Lastly, national security. Cybersecurity is integral to national security due to the fact that cyber attacks can compromise critical infrastructure and disrupt essential services. Hence, in order for the Pacific Islands to protect their sovereignty and maintain their stability, it is vital for them to enhance cybersecurity. To conclude, these potential benefits of strengthening cybersecurity frameworks are paramount. Thus, by doing all these, Pacific Island nations can enhance their cybersecurity threats posture, as this does not only addresses immediate security threats, but also aligns with the broader national and regional security goals, as stated by Watson 2003. The importance of cybersecurity under the OE Declaration can be overstated. Thank you, and this brings me to the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Kiwar, and we also thank your group members of group number 2. In the interest of time, we'll move on to our next presenter, Ms. Yalim, representing group number 6. Vivian, please go ahead. Maybe check your microphone.
Okay. My apologies. Sorry, I think I have technical issues with my laptop. I'm using Vincent's. Okay, so good morning, Mr. Yeager and my fellow colleagues. The discussion statement given to us, Group 6, reads, Watson discusses the role of donors in addressing capacity constraints in Pacific security systems. And the question reads, what are the benefits and risks of heavy reliance on external donor support for national security development? Before answering our question, I would first like to define some terms mentioned in our discussion statement. So what does capacity constraints refer to? In the context of Pacific security systems, capacity constraints refer to limitations and challenges faced by Pacific Island countries in effectively addressing security threats including resources scarcity, limited infrastructure, and insufficient skilled personnel to plan for and respond to security risk. Who are the donors? There are a number of donors who actively addresses the capacity constraints in the Pacific security system. These donors are Australia, New Zealand, China, United States, Japan, European Union, and multilateral organizations like the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank. What are their roles? Donors often focus on traditional security issues such as border security and political stability, partially to protect their interests and to deter foreign powers perceived to have competing priorities in the region. Hunt 2017 and Fried 2019. Climate and human security issues get donor attention, but often in an uncoordinated manner that is not systematic and enduring. The Bow Declaration is an effort to get a better balance of attention between different forms of security. In particular, there is a push by the Pacific Island governments for stronger global action on climate change, consistent with their primary security concern and their disillusionment with the commitments of the global community, including Australia. Advancing security issues of high priority in the Pacific often requires coalition diplomacy and advocacy on the international level, and those coalitions need to reach beyond traditional partners. Evident from the Pacific's demand for climate and environmental protection action and their leveraging of like-minded nations, such as those in the Alliance of Small Island States. Now, onto the question. What are the benefits and risks of heavy reliance on external donor support for national security development? For the benefits, we have come up with three. The first one is police capacity development programs. Police capacity development programs have been ongoing in Pacific Island countries and territories for many years. These programs have primarily involved deployments of Australian and New Zealand police to the Pacific Island countries and territories to act in an advisory capacity or work alongside Pacific police to develop leadership skills and deliver general and specialized education and training. In 2019, New Zealand deployed additional police officers to provide training and technical assistance as part of a New Zealand, Tonga, Australia jointly funded program to combat transnational crime. The Australian Defence Force has a Pacific Maritime Security Program, which includes the provision of 21 new patrol boats to the Pacific Island countries and territories, including Timor-Leste, and integrated regional aerial surveillance and integrated aerial regional surveillance. Training support is also provided in the form of specialist senior officers working with local officers in country and officers traveling to China for specialist training, according to Kumar 2018. The second one is financial and technical support. Many Pacific Island countries lack the financial and technical resources to develop robust security institutions. Donor support help bridge this gap by providing necessary funding, expertise, and training. For example, Australia has been a long-standing supporter of the Asian Development Bank's Pacific Private Sector Development Initiative, or PSDI. PSDI works with the ADB's 14 Pacific developing member countries to reduce constraints to doing business to support inclusive, private sector-led economic growth. The countries benefiting from the program include Cook Islands, Federated States of Micronesia, Fiji, Kiribati, Nauru, Niue, Palau, PNG, Republic of Marshall Islands, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Tonga, Tuvalu, and Vanuatu. So the overall goal of PSID is to reduce unnecessary costs of doing business in the Pacific and enable private sectors to formalize and grow, to create jobs, increase tax revenues, and lift people out of poverty. And the third benefit is access to modern equipment and technology. The Pacific Islands region is in the midst of an information and communication technology revolution that could have profound implications, particularly for democratic governance and the region's development. External partnerships provide Pacific nations with access to modern surveillance technology, better infrastructure, and more effective security operations. The Australian government, as the Pacific Islands' largest trading partner and aid donor, is well placed to make better use of ICT tools to help the region achieve its development goals. China, on the other hand, is one of the region's largest trade and development partners as well, has begun filling a gap in the market by working with Pacific Island countries to support low-cost telecommunication and digital services. It is providing the region with low-cost internet and international calls through a new satellite deal which benefited Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, Fiji, Tuvalu, Tonga, PNG, and New Caledonia. The satellite, which was launched from Russia, advanced business and education opportunities while lowering the cost of internet and communications in the 7 Pacific Island countries. Another example is the launch of Vanuatu's e-government network, funded by a Chinese loan and service by Chinese government-owned Huawei. Now, onto the risk. We have identified a major risk, which is loss of independence, and it comes with several vulnerabilities. So reliance on donor funding can create dependencies, reducing a nation's ability to make independent security decisions. If a country depends too much on foreign money, it may have to follow what the donors want. This means they might not always make decisions that are best for their people. For decades, the Pacific Island regions have been heavily reliant on donor funding to support development, governance, and capacity building initiatives. While donor support has played a role in strengthening institutions, it has also created a dependency cycle where many regional organizations struggle to be financially independent and responsive to the real needs of Pacific communities. Most traditional regional organizations in the Pacific depend on external funding from donors such as the European Union, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, China, and multilateral agencies like the World Bank and Asian Development Bank. While this funding is essential in many ways, it creates structural vulnerabilities. We have found 4 structural vulnerabilities. The first one is funding uncertainty. Many Pacific institutions are only as strong as their last grant. When funding cycle ends, projects stall and institutional capacity is lost. The second one is shifting priorities. Organizations must align with donor preferences, which may not always reflect Pacific priorities. The third one, limited long-term planning. Many initiatives operate in short-term cycles, making it difficult to invest in long-term institutional development. And the final one is bureaucratic burdens. Donor-funded projects come with complex reporting and compliance requirements, which divert focus away from the real work that needs to be done. Now on to the conclusion. To conclude our presentation, organizational capacity to respond to transnational and organized crime varies in the Pacific Island countries and territories, with some countries more reliant than others on support from external partners, according to Watson 2020. Many smaller countries across the region lack the capacity to conduct investigations and intelligence gathering, and some outlying islands and villages have limited access to local police. Limited capacity for maritime surveillance, a dearth of technology to facilitate crime detection, and a lack of exposure to new and emerging crimes also lead to reliance on external bodies to compensate for shortfalls in skill sets. For too long, the Pacific has been locked into a model where our regional organizations are dependent on external funding and external decision-making. While donor partnership will always play a role, true sovereignty comes from financial and institutional independence. The parties to the Nauru Agreement or PNA office has shown that it is possible to build a Pacific institution that is self-sustaining, profitable, and aligned with Pacific priorities. But the question now is, are we ready to take this model and apply it across other sectors? The future of Pacific development should not be dictated by donors. It should be shaped by Pacific people for Pacific people. If we are serious about strengthening institutions, then we must ensure that they are not just well-governed, but also financially resilient and independent. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, Group 6. And we also say a special thank you to Vincent for lending your computer and equipment for our
Vincent,
two presenters to use. And I just want to stress on the point that was made by Vivian that Pacific problems and Pacific issues must be addressed by Pacific people themselves. In the last symposium that I attended last week, that was the main message as well. We are trying to work among ourselves instead of including the donors, external donors. And many of the points that we mentioned was mentioned by Vivian as well. When they come in, they have their own views, they have their own interest and perspective. And sometimes their views and perspective, it's not aligned to ours and our context, our cultural context and situation and our experience in our communities and society. So that's the conversation or the narrative that is now gaining momentum in the Pacific. So just to add on to what Vivian has said, and also Huawei, it's a debatable topic. Some say it's Chinese government owned, some say it's private. They say they're private, but some they say that no, the founder was a former PLO or PLA, People's Liberation Army man, and then he came out and he started Huawei. So it's a topic for debate whether it's Chinese government owned or privately owned. We'll move on to our next presenter, Mr. Kunai, representing Group 7. Please, Jonathan, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Tigger, and once again, good morning to you all. As mentioned earlier, representing Group 7 under this week's seminar 6, with the theme Cybersecurity and Digital Changes in PNG. So the question that was assigned to our group reads, what references the board declaration expands concept of security. So the question reads, how does the framework receive the traditional understanding of security in Pacific, and what are its practical implications for addressing both traditional and non-traditional threats? So to understand the topic, first, let's look at what the board declaration is about. So established by the Pacific Island leaders in 2018, the board declaration redefines security by adapting a holistic approach that goes beyond traditional military threats. According to Amanda H.A. Watson, this framework acknowledges the unique vulnerability of Pacific Island nation, which often stem from environmental and resource-related challenges rather than controversial military conflicts. This shift in perspective necessitates a fresh approach to security strategies and cooperation. So, without further delays, I'll go straight into the first question: how this security framework reshaped traditional understanding of security in the Pacific. So, how it addresses our group came up with 3 points on how the board declaration receives security in the Pacific. The first one, it stresses on broadening the definition of security. So, unlike controversial security framework that focuses primarily on military threats, the bold declaration recognizes climate change as the greatest security threat to Pacific Island nation, as stated by Pacific Island Forum 2018. It incorporates concerns such as resource security, transnational crimes, human rights, and cybersecurity, emphasizing that security extends beyond state sovereignty to individuals and community resilience. Watson 2019. The second point is emphasizing interconnectedness on how it reshapes security. The declaration acknowledges the deep interconnectedness between climate change, food security, and health security, advocating for a coordinated regional approach. For instance, sea level rising threatens coastal infrastructures and food supply, demonstrating how environmental threats impacts the economy and human security. The third point on how it affects, on how it receives security is integration of human security. The both declaration itself prioritize human security as it shifts the focus from state-centered security to the well-being of individuals and communities. Fred 2018, it promotes the protection of human rights, access to healthcare, and economic stability, recognizing that security must encompass social and economic dimensions. The fourth point is it encourages inclusive participation, so the declaration itself calls for regional cooperation and active community participation in the security efforts, in which it simply means that it encourages an engagement from civil society, local communities, and international parties, shifting security discussion beyond governance and military domains. So, to our second question, what its practical implications for addressing both traditional and non-traditional threats? So, some of we came up with 2 points on how it addresses traditional threats. One is the declaration called for enhanced regional collaboration. The expanded security framework encourages Pacific nations to collaborate more effectively on traditional issues such as transnational crimes and border protection. This collaboration can lead to shared resource and strategies that enhances regional stability. The second point, it focuses on resilience. So the board declaration promotes resilience against traditional threats by recognizing the need for partnership and collective action. This approach allows for Pacific nation to manage risk more confidently, knowing that they have support from neighboring countries. And the second point on how its practical implication for addressing these non-traditional threats. First one is human security. So, according to Watson 2020 in Keen 2021, and addressing human security is crucial as they are often interrelated and can destabilize citizens' well-being. So, limited economic opportunities in the households' ability to invest in health, education, and shelter. Domain 2020. Therefore, government must invest in and improve these services domestically before addressing them at the regional level. The second point is climate change. So Pacific Island leaders are often frustrated by the lack of global response to climate change. So domestic efforts to address these securities have varied in effectiveness. Pigot, Pigot, Mekela, and Atel 2021 notes that the sea walls have shifted impacts rather than eliminated them. Rapid urbanization without strong planning increases climate vulnerability, and water sanitation and food security are adversely affected by population pressure, resource limitation, and climate change. Addressing these issues requires a holistic approach involving political and financial collaboration to build strong local reliance. So the third point is to address these non-traditional threats is a collaborative effort. So addressing non-traditional threats at the regional level necessitates cooperation between national and local levels within a country. A stable relationship between these levels and so effective cooperation. Keen 2021 highlights that the need for trusted collaborative platform that support security cooperation between nation and local levels include non-government and the community groups. So effective collaboration is essential to address non-traditional threats comprehensively. So to my conclusion, in conclusion, the Bow Declaration significantly reshapes the traditional understanding of security in the Pacific by interrogating human and environmental factors into s- security discourse. So this framework ensures that security is not solely focused on military threats, but also addressing critical challenges such as climate change and socio-economic vulnerabilities. So by adopting this comprehensive approach, Pacific nation can enhance their resilience, strengthen regional cooperation, and work towards a more secure and sustainable future for their communities. Thank you for your time and attention. This brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Unai and group number 7. There's a lot of information given there. I hope all of you are taking note. The key word is collaboration. Previously, we said we should not collaborate or work with our traditional partners or donor partners, but then as small Pacific Island countries, we do not have the resources and capability and capacity. So we need Australia, we need New Zealand, we need Canada, we need the United States, we need Japan, and we need China, we need the United Kingdom for support to address the security issues that I mentioned in the Boer Declaration. So the Boer Declaration has a cascading effect from international security documents and strategies. You have the Boer Declaration, and then under the Boer Declaration, you have the national security policy or plan for each country, and then it cascades down to different sectorial plans, the different sectors. That's the structure, the framework for looking at all these different security strategies and plans. We'll move on to our second last presenter representing Group 1, Ms. Aso. And then we'll conclude with Mr. Basak.
Am I audible? All right. Good morning, everyone, and Mr. Yagira. As introduced, I will be representing Group 1 and will be providing our discussion of our assigned question as per the learning guide. Group 1 question for discussion rates. Watson discusses the growing threat of transnational crime in Pacific Island countries, highlighting limited police capacity. How can regional collaboration and capacity building improve the response to these threats? particularly in areas such as drug trafficking and illegal fishing. So before answering the question, we have to understand the background of transnational crimes in the Pacific Island countries and know what transnational crime is. Transnational crime, according to PNG National Research Institute 2024, refers to criminal activities beyond borders, boundaries, jurisdictions, and nations. As highlighted by United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia 2025, these transnational crimes are grouped into three broad categories. First one, illicit drugs, where we have drug trafficking, trafficking in stolen property, weapons trafficking, and counterfeiting. Category 2, we have illicit services, where there's commercial sex and human trafficking. And category 3, infiltration of business and government, which includes fraud, money laundering, and corruption. Celso Santos 2022 described the region as the drug highway. As a result of drug marketing for illicit drug consumption and production, it has been identified that drug trafficking has significantly evolved with the rise of local actors in transnational criminal networks. From the reading, we have found out that transnational crime is an increasing security threat for Pacific Island communities. Watson and colleagues argue that there is very limited police capacity to respond to transnational and organized crime, which is characterized by complex and multi-layered networks. These networks are mobile, well-resourced, and strategically coordinated, enabling them to operate across borders. Also noting that there is limited data to assess the extent of transnational crime. But the specific areas of concern include environmental crimes related to illegal fishing, resource extraction, and trafficking in illegal drugs. Nonetheless, there were regional mechanisms which have been established to combat transnational crimes such as drug trafficking and illegal fishing. This includes the Bow Declaration on Regional Security, the Transnational Crime Network, and the Methamphetamine Action Plan, in addition to the support of the international framework to combat illegal fishing. There are few regional mechanisms, and these come in the form of conservation and management measures through the Regional Fisheries Management Organization initiatives. Additionally, the Australian government, through the Fisheries Management Authority, works with the Pacific Island Forum Fisheries Agencies and the parties to the Nauru Agreement Office, the Pacific Community, and the University of South Pacific. The regional operations and enforcement activities include 1. Embedding fisheries officers in the FFA Regional Fisheries Surveillance Center in Solomon Islands. 2. Having fisheries officers on having fisheries officers on patrol platforms. And 3. Remote monitoring, control, and surveillance and intelligence support. Other engagement with regional surveillance partners include the Pacific Quadrilateral Defense Coordinating Group, which includes countries such as Australia, France, New Zealand, and the US in running coordinated patrols to deter and detect IUU fishing on high seas. Now to our question. How can regional collaboration and capacity building improve the response to these threats, particularly in areas such as drug trafficking and illegal fishing? Regional cooperation and capacity building through organizations like Pacific Island Forum and Pacific Community, formerly known as South Pacific Commission, will improve threats such as drug trafficking and illegal fishing. These organizations consist of members from different Pacific nations. Hence, once they meet up during forums and discuss about security threats such as these, they can enhance ideas to combat these threats and make policies to strengthen their government's framework to protect their national borders. So in terms of regional collaboration in regards to illegal fishing, the Pacific Islands Forum Fisheries Agency, the FFA, has demonstrated the power of collaboration in protecting the Pacific region from illegal fishing activities. According to Mara Hare 2023, the FFA has adopted a significant initiative called the Operation Island Chief, which coordinates surveillance operations covering an expansion area of 18.2 million square kilometers across maritime zones in the Pacific. This operation involves countries such as PNG, Vanuatu, and Fiji, which they collaborate to reduce illegal fishing. In terms of drug trafficking, the responsible agencies under the Pacific Island countries and territories, and through other joint initiatives, can transparently practice information sharing and impactful cooperation to collectively combat drug trafficking in the region. Additionally, the Bold Declaration and Associated Action Plan adopted by the member countries of the Pacific Island Forum align with the U.S. Sustainable Development Goals, specifically SDGs 8, 14, 15, and 16, that addresses enhanced cooperation, information, and intelligence sharing, which, between law enforcement at both national and regional levels, and the ratification and implementation of relevant international conventions on transnational crimes, such as the Palmero Convention. Suppose you don't know what the Palmero Convention is. In that case, it is the official United Nations Convention against transnational organized crime. And it is a 2000 international treaty aiming to combat transnational organized crime. Hence, it is just that the transparent practice of information sharing can be of aid in how states respond and deal with these threats, such as drug trafficking and illegal fishing. Now, in terms of capacity building, many island states lack the capacity to conduct investigations and intelligence gathering, and some outlying island villages or communities have limited immediate access to police. So the main avenue of capacity building is from international assistance through training and upskilling of staff to transnational and organized crimes. With this assistance through multilateral and bilateral agreements, the islands must always put forward their policing needs. It has been identified as a challenge that there are issues of conflicting priorities between aid donors and recipient countries. Identifying the most suitable people for training opportunities, retention of trained employees, and local opportunities to use the skills sometimes complicate national efforts. According to Watson 2021, smaller states find it more feasible to depend on external support to compensate for shortfalls in their resources, compounding their reliance on foreign capacity while they maintain a lower level of local capacity. Financial resources and feasibility issues impede improvement to existing or the development of new preventions and response capacity. And since financial resources are a challenge for an island state, it is good to utilize the international assistance as leverage, gain new skills and training on maximizing capacity and improving our national or local capacity to combat threats. Hence, presenting and aligning agreements on local and national needs may help assist in local and national capacity building, as well as addressing threats regionally. Furthermore, with coordinated patrols, investigations, and prosecutions across borders can also enhance effective law enforcement efforts and the provision of Pacific nations with the necessary equipment technology, and expertise to combat transnational crime is vital. With these various investments into this capacity building will surely improve the response to these threats. Conclusively, Pacific Island nations do require regional collaboration and capacity building to improve the response to transnational crimes such as drug trafficking and illegal fishing, with intelligence sharing and best practices to enable each own respective law enforcement agency. There will be better tracking and disrupting of transnational criminal networks. Thank you, and that brings me to the end of Group 1's discussion.
Thank you, Narisa. Thank you, Group 1 as well. There's a lot of points that are really that needs to be further discussed, but because of time, I'll leave that to you people to go and discuss further in our discussion forum. But TNOC, or Transnational Organized Crime, is now a really big issue. Last week we went for that meeting. It was on transnational organized crime in the Pacific and trying to look for solutions to solve these different issues, security issues that are connected to TNOC. And I just want to remind you about the presentation done by Major Nicholas Mbia. He said a lot of things, and one of the important statistics that he gave was the police to civilian ratio. He said it remains around 1:1,800, could be less, could be more, needs to be verified. And he said the UN standard is 1 policeman is to 450 people. So that's something that we need to really seriously look at and build our police capacity. So we have 1:400, and we are able to maintain law and order and look at serious crimes that are connected to transnational organized crimes like drug smuggling or drug trafficking. With that, I'll give now the opportunity to our final presenter to conclude the presentation. Like I said, there's quite a lot of things to discuss, so we'll leave it to you people to discuss in the forum. And we'll hand over the virtual microphone to Mr. Pasago, who's been waiting patiently. Please, Valentine. Go ahead.
Thank you. Am I audible? Thank you. My name is Valentine Basanu, and I will be representing Group 3 in this Seminar 6 presentation.
Let's go, guys.
Under the theme Cybersecurity and data challenges in Papua New Guinea. So the question that was assigned to my group is, Watson highlights reluctance among Pacific Island countries to share data across borders due to sovereignty concerns. How can these challenges be addressed to enhance cooperation on transboundary security issues like illegal fishing and transnational crime? So our reading comes from the article titled Perspective on Pacific Security, and my group's question is derived from Chapter 1, which is titled The Geopolitics of Pacific Security, Security Governance and Collaboration Through a Pacific Lens, which was written by Dr. Amanda H.A. Watson, who has a PhD from the Queensland University of Technology, Masters of International Social Development from University of New South Wales, postgraduate certificate in higher education at Australian National University, and her research interests include digital technology in the Pacific, the use of mobile phones in Papua New Guinea, and strategic uses of information and communication technologies in development efforts. So this chapter, the Chapter 1 highlights that the agency for action across a range of security issues remains a consistent theme in leaders' statements, but also consistent differences over priorities in a very diverse region with competing interests both within the region and between regional players. Donors often focus on traditional security issues such as border security and political stability, potentially to protect the interest and to deter foreign powers perceived to have competing priorities in the region. As cited, as according to AN 2017 as cited by Free 2019. So before I go on to answer the question, I will define the key terms. So as Narissa has already explained, illegal fishing encompasses any fishing activities that contravenes established laws and regulations designed to protect fish population, fisheries, and marine ecosystems. Transnational crime refers to criminal activities that cross national borders, often involving multiple countries and international criminal organizations, and include offenses like human trafficking, drug trafficking, cybercrime, and terrorism. Now, on to the discussion and to answer the question assigned to my group, which read, how can these challenges be addressed to enhance cooperation on transboundary security issues like illegal fishing and transnational crime? To address these challenges, Pacific Island countries should consider partnered monitoring and enforcement. Collaboration between Pacific Island countries can be beneficial, especially sea and border patrols to deter illegal fishing and lessen transnational crimes. For these countries, working together to strengthen effective framework at regional level can help them combat these issues. An existing example of a framework in the Pacific is the regional transnational organized crime disruption, which was a strategy created by the Pacific Islands National Forum. The strategy amplifies a few concepts, areas like regional cooperation, capacity building, and legal and institutional reforms. These concepts can benefit Pacific Island countries in terms of sharing information, coordinate surveillance, and creating laws to minimize illegal fishing and transnational crime. Now, to break down, I shall break down on how to address these challenges. Firstly is to build trust and transparency, inclusive or open dialogue. Establishing platforms for open discussions among Pacific Island countries can help address sovereignty fears by allowing countries to voice their concerns and expectations regarding data sharing on such issues. Shared goals to emphasize the shared benefits of cooperation in addressing transboundary security issues like illegal fishing and transnational crime can help Pacific Island countries better understand each other on where they stand. Capacity building. Investing in capacity building initiatives to strengthen national law enforcement agencies and their ability to manage and protect data. Providing technical assistance and resources to strengthen local capacities for data protection can alleviate fears of over or external exploitation, as cited by FAIR 1987. The second point is to develop data sharing agreements. So, as cited by Matei 2024, developing region-specified legal frameworks that respect national sovereignty while facilitating data sharing can enhance trust. This includes harmonizing laws related to data protection and privacy on such issues. Implementing robust data security measures to protect sensitive information from unauthorized access or use can help Pacific Island nations to protect their sovereignty, while prioritizing data privacy and ensuring that data sharing practices comply with relevant privacy laws and regulations. As cited by Lindley and Lothian 2024, establishing formal agreements for data sharing that outline the terms and conditions can help mitigate concerns about sovereignty and ensure equitable participation among Pacific Island nations. Thirdly, to strengthen regional cooperation. According to Bega and Begin 2018, leveraging existing regional organizations like the Pacific Islands Forum Fisheries Agency, FFA, and the Oceania Customs Organization to facilitate data sharing and coordination. Through these organizations, the forming of regional task forces focused on maritime security can enhance collaboration efforts against illegal fishing and transnational crime. leveraging the said data for effective action. Information exchange, as Noonan and Williams 2016 highlighted, establishing mechanisms for regular information exchange and intelligence sharing among law enforcement agencies and other relevant stakeholders. Collaborative efforts can include joint patrols and shared intelligence to monitor and address illegal fishing and transnational crime. This can be done through border securities or establishing exchanging information and cooperation between border patrol and border security. The fourth point is to engage international partners, seek technical assistance from international partners to strengthen national capacity for security and data management, securing financial resources to support regional cooperation initiatives and capacity buildings, fostering global partnerships to share best practices and lessons learned in addressing transboundary security issues. So, in conclusion, all these strategies present a pathway to improve cooperation on these challenges, such as varying governance capabilities and resource limitations among Pacific Island nations. However, these resource limitations among Pacific Island nations may hinder progress. Therefore, addressing these disparities is crucial for the success of regional initiatives and partnered monitoring and enforcement of collaboration between Pacific Island countries can help them better combat these issues. Thank you, and that's all from me and Group 3.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Basungu and Group 3 for sharing with us your answer to the given questions. So we had 7 presenters presenting the assigned answers to the assigned questions on behalf of the groups, and we thank all the groups as well for contributing and helping your group members or group reps to prepare the answers to share with us in this seminar. So this is seminar 6, and the topic is on cybersecurity and digital changes. But the challenge is, I hope by now all of you have realized that if you go to Google Scholar and you type cybersecurity in PNG, you'll not see any PNG expert or academic doing research and writing about cybersecurity in PNG. So because of that, we had to draw from other literature from China, the book on China cybersecurity, and then this particular chapter by Dr. Amanda Watson on telecommunication security. So I hope these 2 readings help you to form an understanding of what cybersecurity is and the digital changes in PNG. And like I said, it's a research gap that we need more Papua New Guineans, more people like you and I to do more research into what cybersecurity is and how it is affecting the country's growth and how the digital changes, Facebook, social media platforms are used to change politics, domestic politics or internal politics, party politics, politics in general, the people's perception, all that. So that's an area that we need to do more research. So because of the absence of literature written by Papua New Guinean researchers on cybersecurity and digital changes in PNG, we had to use other readings, which are connected in a way, not directly but indirectly. But I hope it helps you to sort of understand what cybersecurity is and the digital changes that are happening in PNG and how America, China, and Australia, New Zealand, as our donor partners, they fit into the whole security architect in the region. So Sol will stop here. I thank you all for your attendance. You all have a good day, and we'll continue our discussion in the discussion forum for this particular topic. So that's the end of cybersecurity, week 1 and week 2 or seminar 5 and seminar 6. So in our next meeting, seminar 7, we'll move on to climate change or environmental security. I know that's that is a topic that all of you are really interested in and keen on talking more about it. So we'll do that in our next seminar session. That's all for now. You'll have a good day and thank you for your time and for attending this seminar presentation and listening to our presenters. Thank you to our presenters and our online audience as well. You all have a good day.